Hello, welcome to Building Brand Advocacy. I'm your host, Paul Archer, and today I'm joined by Michele Galetto. And Michele is got an area of expertise in somewhere which I'm particularly interested in learning about because it's basically the area of brand building that I'm at my weakest, and that is in the luxury space. So Michele, welcome. Want to kick things off. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you came into the wonderful world of brand building?
Yes. Hi, Paul. Thank you very much for having me. Hi, everyone. I would say it was by coincidence. So basically, I spent the first 11 years of my career in consulting. So I've been working with A.T. Kearney, Deloitte Consulting, KPMG Consulting. And I remember there was a moment during my tenure at Deloitte Consulting while I was pitching diesel. And one specific day, I stuck in Algiers at the airport. I was working in North Africa at the re-engineering of Eni subsidiary, the Italian oil company. So it was really a tough one. And I remember I texted the general manager at Diesel saying, wow, you're so lucky, guys. You do an amazing job. While I'm here in North Africa, it really sucks. And I don't know, how are things on your side? And he just replied, all right, why don't you join us? And it all started from there. So the second part of my professional life started with a text message like, why don't you join us? And we moved from there. So it was probably just a matter of being lucky at that time.
Brilliant. And I mean, we'll forgive you for your background in consulting. Don't worry, no one's perfect. But we'll say, what was that first role that you kind of joined in? Was that on an operational side of things? Was that on the marketing? Where did you, and what was Diesel then? That was the Italian subsidiary that you joined, and what kind of responsibilities did you have?
Oh, that was tricky because, I mean, I went through a process to be hired, which lasted more or less 8 months. So I scaled up from the HR intern to finally Mr. Rosso. And I was initially selected to be the head of marketing, working with Giorgio Presca, who was at that time the vice president for all the business area. And all of a sudden, I don't know why, Mr. Rosso told the guys hiring during the hiring process, all right, I want to meet this guy. So there has been another couple of steps meeting Mr. Rosso, which ended with 2 proposals, one to work on marketing side and the other one to work together with Mr. Rosso in developing Only the Brave, the holding company, and acting as his right arm. So while I was pleased for having a couple of options, it was a kind of tough moment. And I mean, it was a kind of naive situation, to be honest. Then I decided to work together with Mr. Rosso. We had a great chemistry. And I was basically involved in everything that was new to the company. So all the new business development, all the scouting for new brands to set up this new holding company, reorganizing them, managing them. So I went through the, I don't know, Margiela acquisition, Marni, the Discware license, all the stuff that were additional to Diesel. And on top, I was working side by side with him on very specific topics, like for Diesel or other small initiatives that were taking place at that time. So it was a kind of super interesting role, and I have been exposed to people, which I probably would never had any opportunity in life to meet. So it was really a great moment in my life.
And this was what, sort of 2006, 2007. That was,
yeah.
I mean, Diesel had to be one of the biggest brands in the world at the time. That's
Yeah,
like in its heyday.
It was like the golden age for Diesel. It was, I mean, was this bunch of like crazy people who were throwing parties, opening new stores, creating any initiative from scratch, and we were making it happening, which was incredible at that time. We launched the underwear business unit. We launched Diesel Black Gold. Sometimes I don't know if it's a matter of being in the flow or it's like the cool moment for a specific brand. But those years when Diesel was really on fire almost everywhere, we were booming in Japan, in the US, Europe was doing great. So it was really a great moment globally.
And what do you think it was that made Diesel stand out as a brand? What made it different at that time? And with, that was, I mean, you have your Levi's and your denim, but also that was high tide, maybe Von Dutch kind of era as well. If you remember that, I mean, like, what was it that made Diesel the one that could just cut through?
I think, I mean, the biggest thing about Diesel, it was, I mean, the denim planet before Diesel was like you buy a pair of Levi's, like regular mid blue or dark blue, and you were wearing them and washing them until the very moment they were fading in the exactly color that you liked it better. And it took like sometimes ages to get at that point to give that worn out look to your pair of denim. So what we brought in the market at the time was the worn out look that wasn't on the market at that stage. So it was a completely new thing, like treatments and different washes, and it gave all the consumers an option to create their individual style, like from now, not in 2 years or 5 years or whatever. So I guess that around this denim wash theme, we have been able to build a global look and feel, like a proper brand mood, which was at the end responsible of the success we had at that time. So we built like different collections that also are spanning now to homeware, tableware. I mean, like anything you may think of.
So that's, I mean, that kind of journey of going through from there, but you've been lucky enough to be at the seat of some incredible brands subsequently from there, kind of going on from there to be working at Largo, then Ukes, which then got acquired by Net-a-Porter, and now Kiton. Like, going through such a various different brands and retailers that sell lots of brands, what is the one thing that you think makes a brand successful above all others? What is the trend, that vein that sort of runs between all of those massive successes that you just see time and time again, that should be obvious but maybe isn't?
There are probably 2 or 3 things that mainly refer to the same main topic. The first one is make sure you have a very clear value proposition coming from the brand DNA, which has to remain always the same. So the brand DNA, it's something that never changes. It's like your reason to be on the market and your main point of difference. The other thing that it's super relevant is the ability to keep this DNA constant over the time and to like upgrade or show different faces season after season. So it's always the same, but you bring out like slightly different aspects of the same thing. And if you keep repeating the message and you keep creating interesting new things, interesting new messages, like new shades of the same messages, then it's the way you can succeed. So it's not about changing, it's about evolving, like keeping a very stable root, but showing something that is a kind of evolution, which is where like science and magic mix together and create something special. And this is coming with people with good mood. For instance, I remember the years at Diesel where basically I didn't feel any stress for work. I mean, I was working like crazy, and a lot of people were, but it was a kind of very fun situation. There was an incredible environment made by young guys and senior executives, which I mean, who had like an incredible experience, great ideas, a super design team, but we were all mixed together, creating something that was much more than the sum of the single individuals. That was, I guess, the chemistry of creating a successful brand.
And have you ever seen that go wrong, or where do you think brands can lose it? I'm always fascinated. I see quite often a brand will get a big buyout, private equity or someone will come involved. They'll get rid of some part of that DNA, maybe the founder, and then those companies often start to then decline and lose their way with it. Have you seen that experience? How do you think it? What's the first error that people make when they start to lose their way once they've found it?
I mean, I think this is mostly where science meets magics, because I mean, there's the curve of sales generally, it's not very well aligned with the curve of the coolness of the brand. So sales are still growing, even though the brand is probably going a little bit down in terms of coolness. So at a certain point, you need those visionary people that really understand what's going on at the brand and in the market and are able to match the two things, to tune in market and offer, demand and offer. So what happens sometimes, or probably most of the times, is that when, I don't know, a private equity or anyone else get a brand from the market, they try to simply change the receipt. And they say, all right, we had Paul and now we want to hire Mark, and this is going to be better, which could probably be, unless you really understand what is changing in the alchemy. And I believe that probably only the founders or the people who are really embedded into the brand DNA are able to make those decisions. It's like Steve Jobs, Mr. Ross. I mean, those guys really understand what's happening and how they can tune offer and demand.
And so talk to me about the founder, Mr. Rosenberg, did you say, from Diesel?
Rosso, yes.
Rosso. What was he like? What made him different? What was it like to work with? What were some of the funny stories you had from there?
I mean, he was, and he is, by the way, a total genius. I think it's the person who most shaped my career and influenced the way I am now as a professional and sometimes also as a person. I think I've never met anyone more generous and with a super clear vision of the future of brand and the industry. So he has this really incredible attitude to understand people. I mean, it was funny because my office was just next to his. And I mean, sometimes I found myself looking for the people entering his office, and there were like banks CEOs followed by an intern at Diesel showing him something. So he was meeting with like everyone, which was probably, as you can imagine, he was the president, the founder, whatever, of over 1 billion euro group. So he was super busy with different meetings, but he was always super curious to hear what you were saying. Sometimes, of course, I mean, the flip side of the coin was that if you were trying to get him his time without bringing something relevant, then it was not like that kind. I mean, he was trying to say, all right, I'm happy to meet with everyone as long as you have something for me. If you're just wasting my time, then I mean, it's not, this is not the situation. But I think the most important part of his personality was to be super open to anything and to anyone. Now, probably there's this word which is a little bit overrated, which is inclusivity. He was inclusive by nature. So he was like any topic, any person. I mean, there's no gender, religion, color, nothing. It was like, he was hungry to get new things from whatever they would come, and he had this incredible attitude to elaborate all these little bites of different coming from different people, markets, or stuff, and creating his own vision. That was the super fascinating to me.
Amazing. And so fast forward now, you're now at a brand, Kiton. So tell us a little bit about this brand and how you fit into the mix.
I mean, Kiton, probably it's not the same coolness Diesel had. It's a kind of very different part of the industry. It's the ultra high-end luxury. I mean, it's the development of the traditional Neapolitan tailoring. We have this approach on quality. So everything that we do is handmade in Italy. We are a fully integrated business. So we produce our own fabrics, and we arrive at the final product. It was founded in the mid-60s by Mr. Ciropone. He was really obsessed with quality. There's something that he was always saying, which is we start where everyone else stops. Which, I mean, when I arrived at the first time, I said, all right, this is like corporate bullshit, and I understand everyone has to find its own way to find a space on the market. And I am here 3 years now, and I'm definitely into it. I mean, you know, like, it's not a matter of taste. You can like or not like something, which is perfectly understandable. But when it comes to quality, you can't recognize the way fabrics and like the manufacturing of a thing it's done. And I've never seen anything at this level. So it's we have around 850 employees, almost half are tailor. Most of them are trained in our tailoring academy. And it's really an incredible environment. We are serving ultra high net worth individuals, of course. All this quality and stuff that I'm just talking about have a big value.
To give us a bit of a frame, how much would a suit cost, for example?
I mean, the very entry price in the US, it's a little less than $10,000. But we quickly move from that to 3 times. It's super easy.
That's a hell of a suit, a $30,000 suit. You know, people talk about walking in the room with a $3,000 suit and a Rolex on, but a $30,000 suit, that is a play. That's a statement.
That's the reason why I was saying we serve like Mr. Jeff Bezos, I mean, we have a long list of famous clients that are usually wearing Kiton. I mean, of course, we offer also the service, which is aligned with the price tag. So most of the time, for most of the clients, we fly our own tailor from Naples to their home. They take measurements, they go back, they fly back again to make the first fitting, they readjust everything, and they finally fly out again to deliver the final product. So, I mean, sometimes it's a little bit tricky. I mean, we are not talking of, I mean, if I have to say, our walk-in business, it's not as relevant as those super relevant clients around the world. So we are developing our own retail network, which is around 60 stores around the world, and is proving to be very successful. And on top of that, as I was saying, we have those extremely important people that we call customers that are used to a service that it's unbelievable, and making them happy, it's the biggest challenge that I ever seen in my life.
So obviously I'm all about understanding advocacy and how word of mouth travels. How does a billionaire find out that they need to spend $30,000 on a suit? How does Jeff Bezos think that this is where he should allocate some of his hundreds of billions that he has knocking around?
I mean, that's probably the trickiest part of the job, because these people are mostly insensitive to any form of communication. So, I mean, yes, we are doing Times Square advertising. Yes, we are doing that. We are doing Instagram cover. Yes, we are. But honestly, I mean, that's the part, like, even though we are trying to target as much as possible our communication, I mean, it's very hard to get those elite clients. So I think that our main driver to convince customer is our try-on procedure. Like if you walk through the collection and you try something on, you touch it, you feel it, you probably understand that you never had anything like that in your wardrobe. So as long as you can afford it, then you are full in.
Are they finding about this when they're in one of your stores, or is this something which kind of carries from one billionaire to another billionaire when they hang out on their yachts together and discuss?
That's the thing. That's the thing. So surprisingly, their word of mouth is moving around. So sometimes we are invited from our clients to events, and looking around, we see all different people in the world gathering together that are all our clients. Like I've been to a wedding before COVID, and I have been invited by one of our clients in London, and I found that event probably a dozen of other clients coming from India, Middle East, US. Apparently, there's this kind of inner circle of people which gathers together. So I believe that it's not really, I don't know if it's word of mouth or if they start talking about the way they dress, but probably they look at each other and they see small details. Consider that we are not like a super branded company. So for instance, like the 30,000 suit has no logo. It's just these small dot. I don't know if you see that here.
If you move just up a little bit more. Oh, hang on, we've lost your focus. You're out of focus now.
Out of focus, let me see, but it's just like this small embroidery with the
little red dot.
Yeah, that's it.
That's incredible.
That's nothing.
But when you know, right? Because you walk into a room and there's another guy in a $30,000 suit, you're going to say, hey.
Here and this, I mean, it's like if you know, you know.
That's what counts. And I mean, like, this is where I'm really fascinated about how that happens. I mean, like, a core belief of mine is that the way that you get advocacy is by providing the most remarkable service you possibly can, so good that they feel that they have to remark upon it. They have to tell other people from it. And is that what you're doing? Is that the experience of having a tailor fly to your yacht or your house in the Hamptons or wherever it is and fit you up and then just put on the most incredible suit? You feel that you have to tell people, or is there other ways that you are nudging people over the line to try and make sure that those conversations happen?
I mean, it's more or less everything. I can I would like to share like a few things. Like one of our clients gained a few pounds, and he said, look, I have this problem. I have my whole wardrobe that just fits smaller than it was before. So what can we do? So we get all of his wardrobe to our shop floor, and we completely remodeled it on his new body type for free. It was like,
well, and they're all your suits, or these are any suits?
No, our suits. It was a good client. So we take like 45 suits, and we started like restitching everything to make sure that it was fitting again. And this is possible because everything is handmade. So it's easy for one of our tailor to redo the fitting. And I mean, this is not service, this also gives the idea of, I mean, I'm not really into the word sustainability, but it's really something that we are by design. So luxury, it's generally speaking more sustainable by design because we have limited production, we do not have waste, we do have limited leftovers. I mean, there's a number of reasons, but also on top of that, we are always trying to keep our clients as happy as possible with what they have already invested into the brand. So it's like we understand the value of things and we want to make sure that you get the most out of that. So this is one example. The other one is how to get these billionaires happy and hanging out together. So sometimes we organize like little private event at someone's home, someone's mansion, probably. It gives more the idea. So like probably 6 months ago, we organized in New York a dinner in an incredible location, which is the house of one of our clients, and we have been flying a 3 Michelin star chef at his home for a private cooking experience and a wine experience, and it's like really crazy people. I think that probably someone tried to account for the wine bottles that have been opened during that night, and it was more than $300,000. So it's like generous people, and people, I mean, they have everything. So sometimes they are happy just to eat a good pizza with a great chef cooking and showing how to cook a pizza. So it's trying to create experiences that stick on their minds, and I don't know, most of the time I have the feeling that these ultra net worth individuals, because they have everything, sometimes they are just bored, so they need experience. I mean, the same experience that yourself and myself we are doing with our friends, like spend some time together having a pizza and just having a nice conversation at home. It's not like.
And how did you get the brand involved in that? Did you have tailors on site? Did everyone have to wear one of your suits? Like, there is.
No, it's not at that level. So, I mean, it's going back to the, if you know, it's like you don't need to wear a jacket or a suit to be in the club. So there's no dress code or no secret word to enter I mean.
Did they wear your suits though? Did you make sure you spotted a few that were there?
I mean, most of them, yes. But I mean, we didn't have anyone checking at the entrance. So
there wasn't. At least no one turned up wearing their swim shorts anyway. So that made sense. I mean, that makes like this. It's just such a different space, but you can see the values and the way that the brand grows. It's still there, right? You're still providing them with value, but understanding what is valuable to a billionaire is different to what is valuable to the kind of person that was buying diesel jeans, for example, and different for every single brand. But you're still doing the same thing. That mindset of community building, the mindset of building, providing a remarkable experience so that people advocate for you to tell other people. Like, you guys seem to have that baked in at the core without too much of the surplus stuff. I mean, presumably, like you said, your ads, if you're buying things like digital ads on Facebook and things, are they having any effect as far as you know? If you could cull that, it'd be nothing compared to the Michelin
Very
star
little,
dinner, right?
yeah. Very little.
Amazing.
I think the main difference between what I have been seeing at Diesel and what I'm seeing now is that Diesel was about creating what Mr. Rosa was saying, like a successful living mood, who was giving the clients, the guys that were buying, like the feeling or some emotions to be part of a super nice world where everything was possible. It was super light, super engaging, but also funny, and was like rock and roll. The thing here is more providing with the best quality you can imagine, and make sure that these people are happy and their most incredible needs are met at any time. I mean, sometimes we have someone stepping in New York at our store saying, "Oh shit, I forgot I have an event in 3 days and I need a tuxedo, a made-to-measure tuxedo." And we say, "Wow, that's a lot," because a tuxedo normally takes a week in Italy, and then you have to have it in New York. And we are always trying to match their needs, because they come to us because of that. So it's probably more related to service and quality rather than like the lifestyle mood that was like the key point of difference at Diesel.
When you're trying to serve these demands that people have coming in there, is it because you've got this talent in-house? I mean, so you have your own tailoring school, right?
Yeah.
So that must make things easier. Tell us a little bit about that, and how does that kind of play into your ability to deliver this unbelievable experience?
I mean, there was a vision from our founder, realizing that like our tailors were growing up at some place. And I said, all right, we need to make sure there's a future for that. And not just for the business, but also because part of the Italian tradition, Italian tailoring, Italian manufacturing. So we need new guys working on that. So he invented this tailor academy where like our master tailor, the most experienced guys that are working at us, they are teaching new to the new talents how to make a jacket by hand, and it takes like 3 years from cutting to stitching to make sure everything fits perfectly. So it's a kind of a long journey, and it's what it's ensuring our ability to deliver for the next 5 to 10 years. So without this school, I mean, we could probably get at some point where there should be demand, but we would not be able to provide the offer or make sure that we satisfy all of our customers. So we have like new young guys joining our most experienced team like every year. And I mean, we are, I would say, treating in general terms, all of our employees and the tailor, especially in the best possible way, because we realize that they are the backbone of the brand. So without them, probably none of them would be possible, and you can't replace them. I mean, you don't have any factory in Southeast Asia that it's able to deliver the same stuff. So it's that's the only way we have, and that's the reason why we are trying to. I mean, they are really the superstar of the company.
And it's their ability. I always think that it's the brand that cares the most is the one that wins, not necessarily the one who's got the most money or the best resources, the one who can care deeply enough to get that product to make it just set aside, and then cares about people enough for them to convey it. I mean, every single person in your store must, when someone walks in, they must sit there and talk for an hour about how great each item is because it's had so much attention to it.
Yeah, that's very romantic, and sometimes I also believe that it's true until the moment I walk outside Harrods and I see the Dior windows, which is really huge. So the thing is here that romantics work, but probably money work even better. So I mean, if I have to comment on our closest competitors, especially like Loro Piana, Brunello Cucinelli, I mean, their size, I mean, they are much bigger than us, and therefore they have more power to invest, which in this industry still makes the difference. So it's romantic, but size matters, unfortunately.
And when you say invest, that's investing in brand and distribution, not investing in special technology, for example.
No, it's more branding and distribution. So I mean, you are probably, what everyone is seeing is that in every single city, all the luxury, it's very polarized in one or probably two at maximum very specific locations. Those locations are, I mean, the prices there are crazy high. You can't imagine how much is rent in Sloane Street, in New Bond Street, and Rodeo Drive. It's really an incredible investment. Meaning that if you want to be in those prime locations, you have to be brave enough to bet on how many sales you'll be able to make in that area. And so it's easy when you are a merchandising brand. So merchandising brands are the one that, apart from their ready-to-wear collection, are making big money with accessories like baseball caps, small leather goods, like those little things that put you in the situation where you think you are belonging to the brand. Like you just have a product credit card holder and you are a client at Prada. No, you are not. You are just trying to step in the door. Unfortunately, we are not that merchandising driving, so we are hardcore ready to wear. So if you step in, you have to be ready to spend big money. There's no way you can just buy something, because every little something, it's crazy high at Kiton. So those brands, those merchandising driven brands, have more opportunities to grow, even if they are not really targeting ultra net worth individuals, because more or less everyone can afford something at those brands. It's a little bit harder for us because we are really targeting ultra net worth individuals.
That makes a lot of sense. So I can't buy that handkerchief with the dot on it by itself. Then it has to come with a $30,000 suit. So
that's the thing. We are not selling it.
Exactly, right. The little people, folk like me, don't get the chance to get in that. This is fascinating, and kind of we're heading into a recession. A lot of people, I mean, the sort of like the common sort of narrative is that luxury is pretty recession proof. Do you think that's the case? What do the next couple of years look like for you guys? Any big plans?
I mean, we had a very good 2021, so we had recovered in full from COVID, so from the dark year 2020. We are growing in we are very close to 50% growth this year, meaning that apparently rich people are getting richer. Unfortunately, I don't know if unfortunately or fortunately, but I mean,
well, fortunately for you, maybe not fortunately for the rest of society.
Yeah, probably. And business is really going really at its best. Of course, there is area of concern. In this very moment, the biggest one is in China and the situation with lockdown, the protests, and everything that is happening in the last few weeks. We have a strong growth in the US, so it's focused on specific areas like Florida, Texas. So we have Miami, Dallas, and New York that are really booming, where those are the areas where we are struggling to meet the demand. Europe, it's a kind of lights and shadows. So we have cities where we are doing great, like London, Milan, Rome, and we are cities that are a little bit lagging behind, and we are trying to keep them on track. But overall, in terms of the business, expectations are really to grow, to keep this consistent pace of growth and make sure that, I mean, our target is to get to 200 million euro turnover between 2023 and 2024. So say in the next 18 months, probably for sure at the end of 2024, and I'm pretty happy with that.
Even at $30,000 a suit, that's quite a lot of suits to sell. So
yeah, no, of course, but then we also
great.
have like smaller things, and this adds up.
Even more, but it still sounds fantastic. But this has been fascinating. I've got a couple of quick fire questions I want to jump into there just before we close things up. And just first of all, what advice specifically about brand building would you give to your 21-year-old self?
I think this may be valid both for a brand, but also for personal branding. And I think it's like, think about your point of difference, like why you are different from anyone else on the market. Make sure they stick to your real DNA and try to convey the message, broadcast the message, and repeat it, and repeat it. That's probably the main thing that could bring someone to be successful. And today, I receive every day, I mean, I'm really going crazy, especially with LinkedIn or stuff. I mean, I receive probably 20 messages every day saying, hey, hello, I am Mark. I live in New York. Is there any job I can do at your brand? And I say, really? Do you think this is convincing in any specific way, or do you think I am really trying to engage with you with these kind of message. So sometimes I feel younger generation are not really very much into create or trying to engage with someone. They're like, hey, hello, I'm here. Any update for me? No, I'm sorry, no updates.
So you need to make yourself different, stick to that DNA.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's sometimes it's really frustrating because I mean, you can't even reply to those messages. It's like frustrating to say, no, but come on. It's of course, no. It's just, do you think there's a different way to try to engage with someone you don't know?
Yeah, I think that technology makes that better and or worse. Like, just because if a lot of people are still reaching out in weak ways without adding any value to the person they're trying to talk to, just technology's made it easier for them to reach out to more people in a bad way. And therefore, our inboxes are filled with just crap outreach, which could be so much better. I mean, I must get 20, 30 a day. And I go through, I read most of them, and I'm desperately seeking for a good one. When I see a good one, I respond to it.
Me too,
I'm like,
me too.
Great, congratulations, you weren't shit. Forward it on to my whole team, because it's just like, it's not that hard. You just have to personalize it. You have to care about the person to see how I'm going to add value to them, and then you're going to give them something, have some sort of generosity to it, not a take. Because why would I want to give you something when you're just
Yeah, that's the thing. And so if you are 21 years old, please focus the message before sending the message. Like, try to put in the receiver's shoes and try to figure out if there could be any interest in dealing with you. It's not about just saying hello. It's not your friend. It's not, I mean, I can be friendly, but I'm not your friend.
Yeah, it's like, how can you help me? No, sorry, the message should be, here's how I can help you, not can you help me? It's the wrong way around. And so along your way, amazing career in loads of different great brands as they grow. What counterintuitives have you experienced?
Yeah, I think once again, I don't know, but I'm still very much convinced of the reinforcing the message. So initially, I was thinking that if you tell me something twice, it's getting boring and I'm annoyed with you. You are constantly going back and forth on the same thing. Now, reviewing with more probably experience and a different eye on this thing, I think that message reiteration is a kind of counterintuitive learning that I got. So it's the ability to stick to a specific message, probably reinforcing in different way. And this goes to the ability of influence someone. It's like, I'm able to influence your behaviors because I'm showing, I am telling you basically the same message in few different ways, like showing different angles of the same stuff, which is not boring. I mean, it's not. It's being able to influence someone else's actions. That's at least to me super relevant. Also, when you are managing a complex organization, it's not just a matter of hierarchy, like I am the boss and you have to do this and that, because I need that task to be carried out in the best possible way. So I have to be able to influence you, not just to tell you what I'm expecting from you.
That sounds really in line with what you were saying about keeping that DNA core. And that's what great brands are. They're consistent, telling the same message, sticking to their values and being who they are. And great leaders, I think I read something that apparently being a great leader is telling the same story 100 times. And so this has been fascinating. I've really enjoyed this chat, digging into like the super high end of luxury, as well as hearing some of the stories there from Diesel. Michele, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for making the time and being a part of the Building Brand Advocacy podcast.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very much, everyone who is listening.
And you take care.